Hey guys, and welcome back to Masterpieces Masterpieces. This is episode 4, and today we're going to talk about episode 2, or part 2 of the 3-part movie, 54 Scattered. That's the name of the episode. It's episode 54, Scattered. Now, again, spoilers. If you haven't seen it, don't watch it because I'm going to talk about everything. Go watch the episode first, then come back and watch this. So let's get right into it, though, because there's a lot to talk about, and I don't have a lot of time to talk about it. So it picks right back up where the last episode left off, at Darkmount with Shockwave and Megatron, and Shockwave kind of, we find out what happened to him, and basically what happened was, when RC and Cliffjumper kind of trashed the place, his whole laboratory just exploded, and he was left there. The Decepticons just left him there. And he asked Starscream, "Why'd you leave me? What'd you leave me there for?" And Starscream gets really kind of scared, and he gets really terrified, and he's like, "We thought you were dead. We saw the explosion. We thought you were dead." And Shockwave basically says, "All right, that makes sense. That's logical. That's logical." So Spockbot is back in his truly logical, great Shockwave's back, and the whole episode, over and over and over again, there's just this tension between Shockwave and Starscream. It's obvious that Starscream really doesn't like this guy and really doesn't want him here. And Megatron names Shockwave his first lieutenant in charge of all matters of science. So Starscream isn't the only one that reports directly to Megatron or is considered a first lieutenant. So he's not necessarily the only second in command now. Now he has to share the title with somebody, and he's really, really not happy about that. And to make matters worse, his torture with Wheeljack yields no results, and Shockwave suggests a cortical psychic patch, which we all know is something that he invented in the first place. So basically he's saying, "Listen, Starscream, your way doesn't cut it. Let's try it my way, because my way's better." So Starscream feels insulted and disgruntled, and he really doesn't like Shockwave being here, and it's going to be interesting to see where that develops, because I kind of had a feeling that this was going to happen, that these two wouldn't get along. So that's very interesting. Now, they do the cortical psychic patch, and they get nothing out of him, so they decide to terminate Wheeljack. Now, Starscream planted a tracking device on Wheeljack at some point, and Wheeljack manages to escape, of course, because we can't kill Autobot characters, heaven forbid. So Wheeljack escapes, and he's got this tracking device on him, and meets up with Bulkhead and Miko, who have been sitting and waiting for him. And they finally meet up, and Wheeljack ditches the tracking device, and they kind of go on their merry way. They go off towards Wheeljack's ship, and that's the last we see of them. That's what we know about them. Raph and Bumblebee stumble across a picture on the internet of Ratchet, so they know Ratchet's alive. And yes, Ratchet's alive. Yes, again, no Autobot deaths. None whatsoever. No one's died. No Autobot has died thus far in this show, whereas Decepticon casualties number in the hundreds and probably thousands if you count all those Steves that have tragically lost their lives in the service of the Decepticon cause. But I could go on and on about that, the injustice of it all. But Raph and Bumblebee stumble across this picture of Ratchet, so they go to find him. They go and find him, and they ask him to join up with them to try and regroup and refocus, and Ratchet basically says, "No, we lost. I give up. I'm done. Just let me rest in peace." And no matter what Bumblebee and Raph say, they can't convince him, so they leave to go to the abandoned starship that Starscream was using as his base of operations while he was rogue. I think that ship is called the Harbinger. I don't remember exactly. I think it's called the Harbinger. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. But they show up later, and they're trying to figure everything out, trying to figure out how to put a ground bridge together, and then you see Ratchet walk in and start helping them, and you realize, oh, Ratchet really hasn't given up. He's back. He just kind of had a down moment. So, woo, Team Prime is getting back together. Yay. Now, Jack and RC, nothing really happens with Jack and RC until the very, very end of the episode. The very end of the episode, Ultra Magnus just shows up out of nowhere. RC and Jack are just kind of walking along in the middle of nowhere, and then boom, this ship shows up, and boom, Ultra Magnus gets out of it. And you know, it just, Ultra Magnus is here. He looks really cool. He looks really imposing. He looks awesome. I can't wait to hear Michael Ironside do his thing. It's gonna be great. That's it with them, though. That's pretty much all that happens. Now, as far as what happens with Smokescreen and Optimus, Smokescreen takes off. Smokescreen takes off and leaves Optimus to go and try and find the forge of Solus Prime so that Optimus can put himself back together. Now, that means he's going to have to infiltrate the Decepticon fortress in order to get the forge. But all we see is him leaving, so I'm assuming we're going to get lots of action and intrigue and some really cool stuff with Smokescreen, and probably lots of Viacon deaths along the way. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes and if Optimus can hold out long enough. But since they haven't killed anybody yet, I don't think Optimus is really going anywhere just yet. Now some quirky little things happen in the episode. When Raph and Bumblebee find Ratchet on the internet, so too does Starscream, and he proceeds to try to show the Decepticons, look, I found an Autobot, I found Ratchet. But by the time he gets the chance to show Megatron this photo, Raph has gone and hacked the site and replaced it with a little gif of a dancing monkey. So by the time Starscream shows the Decepticons Ratchet, all that they see is this gif. And Knockout laughs, and Megatron tells Starscream that maybe he should take a cue from Soundwave and just keep things to himself from now on. Great little moment, great little character moment there. Knockout laughing, because personally I think Knockout likes Earth, likes humanity, you know, but we'll never tell anybody. I mean, he is an automobile enthusiast. That's kind of funny. And to hear Megatron kind of cracking jokes about his fellow Decepticons and acknowledging Soundwave's mute nature, just little things like that are why I think this show is really just fantastic. Just little joke, little inside, little things like that. Now, when Wheeljack escapes and he's got that tracking device, Starscream sends his armada after them. Now, his armada apparently is a bunch of elite Viacons. Starscream has a fleet of elite Viacons under his direct command. That's kind of cool. That's very interesting. I'm glad to see that the elite Viacons didn't go away, because they're definitely cool looking. They're the sleekest looking Steves I've seen. So they're definitely awesome. And the very end of the episode is Megatron basically has this freak out, like, we are the Decepticons. We outnumber these guys hundreds and hundreds to one. Why have you not brought me their bodies? Why have we not destroyed them? And why are there more Autobots showing up? So clearly Megatron knows that Ultra Magnus is here. So why are Autobots showing up? And Shockwave says, hey man, I've got these experiments sitting on Cybertron, and they'll be perfect to get rid of your Autobot problem. So sends Shockwave to Cybertron, and what does Shockwave come back with? We all know, Predaking. Predaking is here. Second episode in, Predaking shows up, and, you know, Shockwave says, Ultimate Autobot Hunter, cloned from ancient Cybertronian creatures. So the Predacons are kind of like Cybertronian dinosaurs, I guess. At least that's what the writers kind of said at the Transformers panel last year, and that's what we were led to believe. So these Predacons are cloned beings, ancient Cybertronian animals. And oh my god, does it look cool! And that's the episode. That's the end of the episode. You see Predaking taking off into the distance to presumably go hunt Autobots. So it was a very exciting episode this week. We got to see Predaking in the second episode, so Beast Hunters is living up to its name. We did get to see some Predacons. Well, one Predacon. We got to see Predaking. So that was very, very, very cool. And we're watching all these relationships develop, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens next week. Thank you for tuning in, and as always, all hail Megatron, and we'll see you next week.